And today we're reacting to HodgeTwin's white worship just cost them everything. Dang, it's been a little second. We ain't seen them HodgeTwin's boys in a minute on O'Shea's joint. I'm sure they still doing everything that they do normally. Bro, with all of this, again, it's just internet back and forth, internet disagreements, white, black, this. Whenever these types of videos come up, hey, if this how they living, this how they living. If it works for them and that's how they feel, it works for them. But you know, people like O'Shea, myself, Don, we gonna come in here, speak our little piece and move on about our business, man. We gonna make fun of these niggas for looking stupid. That's all I'd like to do. I just like to make fun of them for looking dumb. Let's get to the video, man. Let's do it.
It's easier to say that A equals B. When we see criminality or poverty, it's easy to assume Pookie equals Ray Ray, or poverty equals Keisha equals, which means Keisha equals booty clapping. And if you're black and you live in a low income neighborhood or just in a black city, you're automatically on food stamps. That's one way to look at linear thinking without understanding the wider context. And if you want to keep that pseudo intelligence up, all you need is somebody silly like the HodgeTwin's to get on YouTube.
Yeah, and you consume that and you're like, yeah, it's right, for sure. Absolutely.
On Twitter or X, and to keep promoting that message.
Right.
You also need somebody silly enough to keep collaborating with them that's white. And that person is Jake Shields. Jake Shields is a semi-white supremacist who doesn't really like black people, but he sure likes talking about black fatigue.
So I was just reading the audience questions from reading a little bit. God damn, my audience is racist.
I think everybody is though, but they only penalize white people for being racist.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Now this is interesting.
Let me get on my knees real quick. That's what, buddy. Like he saw opportunity and said, pulled his pants up too. He want knee on pavement. He wants his knee on the pavement. He don't want it to be cushioned by jeans or sweatpants. No, I want my knees straight on the pavement for this guy. Let me get down there real quick.
He's talking about his audience, which he admits himself is racist.
I think my audience is pretty racist, but everybody's racist. They just penalize y'all for it. Did you like that?
They have questions about black people. And of course, the HodgeTwin says everybody's racist. It's just a problem with it's white people. Let me just tell you this. I do understand that people have their preferences or dislikes of other groups. But if you're going to talk about black people, because, you know, your way of black fatigue problems is you want to help. The last thing that you want to do are to ask people who are biased towards blacks. It's just like saying, oh, I want to help gays or trans people. But everybody that I'm taking the advice from are people who hate them and want nothing to do with them. It makes no sense. Like, the main thing that you should do if you dislike blacks or you don't like whites or you don't like trans or you don't like whatever community it is, Muslims, you should just want to stay away from them.
Stay away from them. Stay away. I don't move in that vicinity or that area. I go on about my business. I just stay away. That simple. Don't even talk. I don't talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Right? And this is important. But they don't. This is a topic of discussion on almost every white racist's channel.
I think it's good to have these conversations though, because it's like, it's not good for black people either. I don't know why black people have sheltered these people for so long.
I don't think they give a to be honest with you. Look like they would, they paying the price though.
Now he says this, it's good to have these conversations, right? This is interesting because you're trying to have conversations about black fatigue when neither you or the HodgeTwin's live around black people, are married to black people, and you're having conversations about a group that you can't stand, and you have no investment in trying to help that group overcome the problems that clearly you're accusing them of.
It's just like, it's basically just gossiping, but just it doesn't seem that way because of the topic. You know what I'm saying? This is the same thing as a bunch of girls getting together and talking about a nigga that they don't like. You feel what I'm saying? Instead of just saying, I'm not going to be around this person. I don't want to talk nothing about this person. It's just basically gossip. We're just getting together and doing it, but about an issue or about a quote unquote issue, or about a group. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. And then what you typically hear with people like the HodgeTwin's or other blacks that are tired of black fatigue is you have accusations without understanding the wider context.
Yeah, it's like black communities are so destroyed. Like I just seen Cam Higby. He's doing what Charlie Kirk was doing. He went on a HBCU campus, and those black people ran him off campus. Yeah,
Really?
Now, in this particular clip, you have Cam Higsby, okay? Cam Higby was the guy that went to Tennessee State. And it's easier to use this linear thinking to say, oh, he went to the HBCU, and then they ran him off. And that's why black people are not liked by whites, or that's why white supremacists talk in the way they do. When the reality is Cam Higby goes around everywhere starting some kind of problems. He gets beat up or pushed around. He didn't have any approval to be at Tennessee State. He came onto the campus with his own self-made speaker and microphone, interrupting things. Again, that's the wider context of why that happened in the first place. It wasn't a planned debate. He wasn't trying to make it a planned debate. He wanted the students to react like that.
Right.
But again, if you're going to have these conversations with disingenuous people, you're not going to understand the wider context of why things happen. And when you hear about black fatigue, you just hear about it just like this.
It's not racist, and I know y'all have been told this is racist, but it's not. It's not racist to call black people out for their behavior and what they're doing to society at this moment. I'm glad people are noticing this because it's been so many years and it's finally catching up to y'all. I've been trying to tell y'all that white people are tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all too, but everybody, the world is getting sick of y'all and y'all's bullshit. I'm so glad this day is here.
Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm back again. And I've been putting a lot of people on to this program called Free Cash for a while now. Check out one of my supporters that had the biggest payout that I've seen yet from all the DMs y'all have sent. And I promise you, they've been hitting me up saying that they've tried it and it's worked. They've been getting cashed out, and I love to hear that because it genuinely actually works. And don't think I have not been seeing y'all's comments saying things like it doesn't work, Dior supporting a finesse, they're trying to take your data, and it's not true at all. And the fact that y'all would think that I would even put that on a video to get y'all finessed is wild to me. But hey, first off, Free Cash does not sell your data. They strictly track your progress to make sure you can get paid. Only sign up with an email and password and give no personal information. So I don't know what y'all are talking about. Here's how it goes. You sign up through my link, and inside you see a list of apps and games. Download them, play, and beat the levels that they tell you. That's the key. You got to complete the requirement. And once you hit the level, the system credits your account. Every time you finish, you get real money. Cash out to your PayPal or get a gift card, while it also being free of charge. The games pay Free Cash to get new players, and Free Cash just shares the money with y'all for trying it out. It may take a little time to get a huge payout, but if you're gonna be on your phone playing games anyway, you might as well make $5 to $10 doing the same thing. I don't want to hold y'all any longer, and I hope I've cleared up some things if you've been sitting on the fence. Hit the link, try a few games, and then DM me. Let me know that you've been winning, actually getting your money. Like I showed y'all earlier, bro made $1,000 off of Free Cash. I'm not promising that's gonna happen every day for y'all, but the fact that there's a possibility for doing something that y'all already do should really be all the convincing that you need, bro.
Now, why
I'm
that
so
lady
glad
is
this day is here.
a piece of dark chocolate finest.
Oh my God, oh shit.
In many ways, she's using the same linear thinking that the HodgeTwin's are using. White people are tired of black people, and it's your fault. Okay? But there was a time where Jake Shields actually did some interesting journalism. He decided to operate outside of his echo chamber. And again, these people who want to blame black people for all their problems, and again, black people must take accountability for all issues that you cause or do not cause, right? You just have to do so. We're gonna find out that a lot of the white races don't really want you going back to Africa or don't want you really leaving them. No, they don't really want that. Because whenever you talk about something like reparations or something to restore the black community, they always say no. In one case, there was General Yohana. He is a Hebrew Israelite leader. I think he's in the same camp as a Captain Tazariak. I think he's the person that's over that particular sect. And he actually showed up to debate Jake Shields. And obviously him and Jake Shields are on the opposite, scale of things. Jake Shields as a, semi-white supremacist, and, General Yohana, which is extreme pro-black. And they were talking about something.
Wants to talk about how they solve them, I guess, because
because nobody wants to face what they did.
But you still
You got to be a man to deal with this.
Okay, let's say we did fuck you over though,
right?
But we still have to look at a solution of how do you pull yourself out of that.
It's an easy solution.
Black people need to maybe work together.
You know what the solution is?
What's that?
Real simple. The United States has 50 states, right?
Yeah.
Black people are 15% of the population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take 15% of the land mass of the United States, turn it over to black people and call it Black America. Let them establish a government, get the CIA out of our neighborhoods, and we'll migrate the hell up out of here, give you every beautiful city, and we'll go build an empire like you've never seen before.
So how do we solve this black fatigue problem? Now,
interesting. I mean, that's an interesting mindset and concept. I don't know the logistics on that and how we would get everybody. And I guess maybe the black people that ain't trying to live like that, because there's going to be a good amount of black people, or a certain amount of black people that are trying to live in this other situation. You see what I'm saying? He said, well, I'll take the beautiful cities, all that, build a whole, take a part of it. It's like, call it Black America. And this is where they live. I don't think either one should happen. I don't think that should happen. I don't think I'm on that side. I don't know what that cause is. I don't know what happens with that.
Jake Shields admits clearly, listen, man, you were wrong. You were wrong.
He did say that, and I was surprised to hear him say that.
He says it. I mean, we heard him say it. You were wrong. By who? By us. But at the same time, you ought to get yourself up and fix yourself. Now, it can be debated if blacks have, a certain opportunity delivered to them to get them out of their issues. Some can argue that blacks have. But the reality is this. If you are the person that's...
Also, what he was saying, everybody, every group, every person, every situation would have to all coexist with that mindset and say, okay, yeah, that's what we're doing. You see what I'm saying? We're all helping one another. He said black people and white people should help each other. That's what would happen. Like, he's speaking like that's just everybody has the same mindset as him. Not everybody is living that way.
Part of the fire. And you only want to half rebuild that house up. You cannot tell the people who you intentionally started the fire to, the victims, that, hey, listen, I know I did you wrong, but I paid for half the house. You need to pay for the other half. You did not restore that person to what they were, okay? And I get it, you're going to have white supremacists. I get you're going to have people in the black community who are anti-black. But what you should not be able to complain about is something that you know that you started. You created what you see. And whenever black people are dysfunctional, if ever black people are not married as they used to be, and if white people, especially those on the white right, if you ever try to act like you had nothing to do with the destabilization of black people, it's just inconsiderate, and it's also unethical, and it's also disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. And even if you ain't take part of that, I feel like there's still some type of accountability, like that you just kind of had to hold. Like, even if you didn't take part of that, you're like, hey, that is true. White people did do this, that, and the third. Just how black people be having to take accountability for other wild things that other black people do. You feel what I'm saying? We still gotta take the accountability for the guy that did the wild madness. Just as I feel like people like that should take responsibility for those situations. I know you didn't personally do that, but your people did. So when you look at people a certain way, you have to take accountability for that. Remember that happened. You feel me? Just as black people and every other group has to do.
I sit up all day and talk about black fatigue and how, it's hurting everybody. Well, you know what? When we had our communities, the high teas, and when we were wearing suits in the civil rights movement, we had a problem with that too. Okay? You had a problem with all that. You had Jim Crow. Why do you think so many blacks had to come over to the East Coast or to the Midwest or to the West Coast? And they got treated unfairly there. Okay? We're talking about a group of people who did not have justice, and then you complain about how they act when they don't have justice. Again, you can feel however you want to feel about the situation. But Jake Shields should never talk about black fatigue because you already admit you are the problem. You caused the problem. And if the problem has gotten out of hand, why did the problem get out of hand? Woo! And what blacks like the HodgeTwin's want to do, the blacks like the HodgeTwin's want to jump on the bandwagon to make white people feel better about whatever it is that they did to the black community, how you dismantled it. No, I understand if you don't like blacks. It's a personal choice.
Fine.
But stop talking about black fatigue when you're the one who created, quote unquote, the situations and the conditions for black fatigue.
Word.
Woo! So then the guy starts talking about separation, right? This is important. Give us 15% of the country, and then you go your way, we go ours. Whites will never typically agree to that. All right, they never will. Why? I'll tell you. Because who's going to benefit from the black talent? The biggest white supremacists on planet Earth, no matter who they may be, they have organizations, they have football teams, they have businesses. They directly benefit off of black talent. The United States benefits off of black talent, okay? And so if you don't have black people and their talent and you can't just benefit off of it for nothing, then that means you got to cover that territory. You got to cover that ground. You got to cover things in music or in science or, in the military, which we're 20% of the military. That means you got to make up the difference for it. And all the time, white people can or cannot make up that fundamental difference all the time. And they understand it. But it's easier to complain about black fatigue. And then check this out.
What you ask us to do, you would have never asked the Jews after World War II. Imagine if you told the Jews after World War II, you got to go back to Germany. Even though they raised this against you, you got to work with the Germans. And even if it takes 100 years, you got to try to, show the Germans that you're a human. That's what we had to do. Mm-hmm. They didn't go for that. They got the hell out of there. The minute they got a chance at the state of Israel, they got the hell away from the Germans. And to this day, Jake, 54, almost 50 years later, over 50 years later, the Germans are still paying reparations to them.
Yep, they are.
Now, what did we get?
So again, these are the same
He's agreeing too. He's like, yep, they are. He's agreeing.
guys who sit around, talk about Israel all day, right? But the general makes a very, very valiant point.
Mm-hmm.
When
That's true.
the Jews left Germany, at least those portions of Jews, they were not forced to go back to Germany after being harmed. No, they went to other places around the world, and then Israel was created as a country. Okay? And they were allowed to go and build. Blacks, after being harmed, were forced directly back into some level of servitude, where there's Jim Crow,
You're right.
redlining in most communities. I mean, you even have San Francisco, apologizing for how they did blacks, even in the places where, it wasn't, quote unquote, racist anymore. So how are you going to describe a group who they were in slavery and then they had to go back and live amongst their oppressors, and then you call it black fatigue, when the real reality is you're responsible for some of the conditions that they face now? If you see any black person in America that speaks English, it is because a white person taught them. Okay? We don't just speak English by nature. We were taught that. How we think, westernized. We are taught that. Okay? Certain ways of doing things, certain foods that we eat, certain shows that we watch, certain values that we have in business. Let's say for Americans, we typically like a lot of speed. We typically like a lot of service level. These are things that we adopt in American culture, but it has been taught to us. Okay? Most of our teachers were white or something like that. And then some of those teachers, told black students they couldn't be anything. There was a cap on their learning. All right? And so you had even people like Malcolm X who were victims of that. And this is what we're talking about. After slavery, blacks were not allowed to be their own people like these other groups were. When you talk about these groups coming to America, Indians, Filipinos, even other African immigrants, they don't have that same story. But the person that doesn't have that same story, that has some of the most atrocious stories on planet Earth, you're tired of those people when you commit those same atrocities on that group. And then let's talk about the lack of self-esteem that blacks have.
Yeah, I'm not African. I
only
like to call myself black because people try to put you in a box. You got to behave a certain way, dress a certain way.
Yeah.
Talk.
I don't like to call myself black because people put you in a certain box. Oh my God. You don't have to do none of that. Just because your skin is black, you do not have to do none of that. Just because I'm black, I gotta dress. I don't have to dress a certain way. I don't have to. I dress and I move and I act a certain way because of my upbringing and my culture and the people that I was around and my own style things and my own mindset to everything that I'm looking at. You don't have to do that. If that's not you living, you don't have to live like that. These niggas are so, like you said, the insecurities. These niggas are so insecure, bro, that somebody else saying and making fun of them for the way that they dress. Because mind you, niggas make fun of other niggas the way that they dress. For people making fun of the way that they dress, saying, if some other black people saying, oh, you dress white, hurting their feelings so much, you know what I'm saying, or you talk proper, that hurting their feelings so much that they feel like, I don't even like calling myself black. This is I don't, what is this? These are emotional beings. Feelings hurt very easily. You have to dress a certain way, you gotta act a certain way. No, you don't. You don't.
A certain way.
I don't like that. You guys are split, right? Half white, half black.
You have the HodgeTwins saying here, I don't even like to refer to being black. You know why? Because it just I don't want to be put in that certain box.
I don't see you, and I don't see a black person that's dressed a certain way and be like, bro, why is you dressed like that? I don't feel like a lot of these things that they're feeling are probably stemmed from when they were in elementary school and middle school, maybe high school. Some things people might have said something to them. Bro, the grown adults walking around this earth don't see them and say, people that have things going on in their life that where it matters, and say, why are they not dressed like black people? I don't like, maybe the only people that probably feel like that with you would probably be like a white person, but hit you or you're one of the good ones type of people.
You hardly ever hear. I'm afraid to be called white because I don't want to be put into a certain box. I mean, you hardly ever hear that. But
like what?
This is the language that certain whites are happy to hear from certain blacks talking like this, right? Because it's non-threatening. Why does this person talk like this? This person talks like this because they want to be accepted by a group. You first got to say that white people are the best thing since skimmed milk.
They need to learn to love themselves. For real.
And I know you don't believe me, but check this out.
Yeah. Black people just don't. A lot of black people don't realize, man. You got a great opportunity here in America with the white people. White people figure out everything.
You don't want
to
go to
Africa?
Africa?
We do better when we around.
Hell no.
White people.
The hell I'm gonna go to?
Only white people can save blacks. This is the mentality.
Goodness gracious.
Okay? This is the mentality that you must have. So let's sit around and talk about black fatigue and how blacks are doing all of this. But wait a minute, these same whites who have historically been keeping you down, you need to stay amongst them. Okay? The people that have created the conditions of the black fatigue you're complaining about, you need to stick amongst them. So it's a damn if you do, and it's a damn if you don't. Jake Shields already admitted that, number one, he's racist. Number two, his audience is racist. Number three, his people harm black people. And number four, he has no real interest in the black plight or black problems. Why does he keep talking about black fatigue every damn show? Why is he so interested in what's going on in the black community? Because it's a benefit. Talking about blacks is money.
Yeah. They getting money, bro. I ain't mad at them. Get their money, bro. Get their money. Now, they doing things to people, but get their money. Hey, I gotta go to my camera, bro. My freaking camera, bro. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm grateful y'all, bro. We gone. I did let do it, man. Damn, bro.